to a competition entry for JT's Record Room. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to a competition entry video. So this is for JT's Record Room and his push to 400 subscribers. I was not aware of JT, but he subscribed to me a few days ago and put a few nice messages on my Record Store Day haul video, and encouraged me to check out his competition. So I watched that today. I'm recording this on the day of my first haircut of the year, June the 16th, 17th, June the 17th even. Literally all I have watched is the competition video so far, but I've subscribed, and that made me subscriber number 399, so you're pretty much there. As I say, I've just watched this video, but I'm sure it's a channel I'm going to enjoy. He's into his films as well as his music, so a good mixture like myself. So yeah, looking forward to checking out more of his videos. It's just a nice simple competition, but I thought it was one I could quite easily make a go of. The deadline is Sunday, so that's why this is going up on Saturday as a little bonus video for the week. Otherwise I'd have posted it on Monday, but the deadline is Sunday. So the first question was to show 5 favourite albums. No hard and fast rules, but it would be quite nice if they were favourites from childhood or favourites you had a story about. So I picked 5 albums that were definitely favourites in my youth, sort of up to the age of, or albums at least I discovered up to the age of, I think 13 was probably the latest of these, 14 maybe, no later than 15, but as you'll see, some that date right back to pre-teen years. And then the second video is about film. Second part of the contest is about films, but we'll do these 5 first. So I could quite easily have just picked 5 of my top 10 albums, but I've done a top 10 albums video, and I've talked about some of those before. I think one of these is on that list. So long ago since I recorded that video, I'm not 100% certain what I put on it. I can't remember if this was made the list or if it was one I mentioned as a close run, but in no particular order, just the order I grabbed them off the shelf and they landed on my bed. First up, I'll go for Queen's Live Magic album. So this was the first Queen album I owned on cassette. This vinyl copy I've not had long at all, but I listened to it a couple of weeks ago and the memories came flooding back. Although I did miss the little digital code that was at the start of the tape, which isn't on the vinyl for obvious reasons. It's not a great, experience has shown me it's not a great live album because it's very much not the full show and tracks are edited and etc. But the performances are amazing, and it was this album that made me a Queen fan. So first up is Queen Live Magic. Second is The Return of Bruno by Bruce Willis. I loved Moonlighting. Still love Moonlighting, and was a big fan of Bruce because of that. When the singles started coming out from this album, I enjoyed them and bought them. My friend had the album, so he recorded it onto cassette for me because that's what you did in those days, but it didn't quite... No, I think it would fit on one side of the cassette. However, his copy skipped a hell of a lot, and so therefore a lot of these tracks for a long time I only knew skipping versions of. Over time most of them became a combination of A and B sides on the singles, so I did have clean versions of them all eventually, but listening to the album as a whole, it never sounds right if it doesn't skip. So when I picked up this vinyl copy, I was pleased, but I think at one point it did skip and it was sort of in the right place. But yeah, another album I've owned on every format, because Live Magic I do as well. But yeah, that's Bruce Willis's The Return of Bruno. This is Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues. So when I was... This is sort of the age, I'm not entirely certain, can't quite remember what I was. What I can remember is After my parents divorced, about a year later, we moved. Mum remarried. Well, later she remarried, but she got a new partner, my late stepfather, and we moved into his bungalow, which is where I am now, all these many years later. We moved on the day of my 13th birthday. But when the house was sold, Mum gave me and my sister a bit of, for the time, a fair chunk of money to buy what we wanted with. And I bought myself an acoustic guitar, and I sort of taught myself to play that. But a few years later, as I say, I think I was 14, 15, my sister started dating a guy who played guitar, and when he used to come down and stay, he gave me lessons, and he turned me onto this album. That's where this was going, and I absolutely adore this album. Again, another one I've owned on all formats, cassette, CD and vinyl. Just love it. Regular viewers will know my first musical love was Shakin Stevens, and this is my favourite Shaky album, The Bop Won't Stop, from 1983. I just think it's the album that works best as a collection of songs in the album format, rather than just individual tracks. But also, I've got a long-lasting memory of we were sat, and Jesus of Nazareth was on TV, so it was obviously Easter time, probably in 83 or 84. I'm not sure exactly when in 83 this came out. And I wasn't really interested, so I was listening to this album, this very copy, on headphones while the family were watching Jesus of Nazareth, and it was timed so that the crucifixion happened during, I think it was actually the title track. I think it was quite, not the title track, sorry, the first track, A Love Worth Waiting For. It was. So it was, if I'd only just put this on, I might have been listening to other albums beforehand, but there was something about the combination of the images of Jesus dying on the cross and that song that I just burst into tears. It's not a Pavlovian response. I don't always burst into tears when I hear that song, but it's just a memory that sticks in my mind. But yes, as I say, Shaky, my first musical love, my favourite Shaky album. And then finally, Guns N' Roses. So I'd been getting into guitar-based music through Queen and Dire Straits particularly, and then this came out, and I think I probably bought it in 87 on cassette, because my cassette has the original cover on it. This is a red vinyl copy that I picked up 18 months ago or so. But I played that to death, and again, have it on every format. Shaky's the only one I don't, because I don't have it on cassette. But yeah, just absolutely adore this album. Flawless album. One of the greatest debut albums of all time. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Okay, so that's the 5 albums. Then the second one was to show 3 films by favourite directors, and it would be nice if they have a great soundtrack as well. So one of these is a film that is in my top 10 films of all time. But, I could obviously have picked Purple Rain. JFK, I love the soundtrack too, and that's my favourite film. Pulp Fiction's my second favourite film. Ditto. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But I wouldn't class Peter Hunt as a favourite director, because that's the only film of his that I own as a director. Although certainly Oliver Stone and Quentin Tarantino I would. And again, Albert Magnoli isn't a favourite director for Purple Rain. But I have picked 3 films. As I say, one is in my top 10. But they've all got great soundtracks and they're all great films. So I'll start with the one that is in my top 10. And that is Tim Burton's Batman. Tim Burton, possibly my favourite director. I will be doing a top 10 directors at some point. And spoilers, he will certainly be up there, if not at the top. Love the first I love both Batman films that he directed, but love the first one. This is one of only 2 films where I own both the soundtrack and the song track. Love Danny Elfman's score for it. Wonderful, the Batman March, but so many other bits as well. And then, of course, there's Prince's song track, a few of which appear in the film. but the rest are all closely inspired by the film. Yeah, excellent. Next we have An American Werewolf in London by the great John Landis. Another wonderful, wonderful film. And I love this soundtrack because it's all entirely composed of songs featuring the word moon, because obviously it's related to being a werewolf. So Bad Moon Rising, Moon Dance, Blue Moon, and others. And ever since I first saw that film and I sort of picked up on that, I've always loved that aspect to it. And it's a magnificent film. And then finally, Lindsay Anderson's Oh Lucky Man. Not a film that would be to everybody's taste, but a film I absolutely love. And the songs from this and the music are by the magnificent Alan Price. And the soundtrack album is either my favourite or second favourite Alan Price album. Just some great stuff on here. Changes. And now I can't think of the title track, obviously. Pastoral and various other bits. But yeah, it's a great soundtrack. Great film. So that's my entry for JT's Record Rooms competition. Thank you for doing the competition. Thank you for getting in touch. As I say, I look forward to watching more of your videos. I'll put a link down below to his channel if you want to check it out and hopefully subscribe. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.